Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another installation of Scrapbooking 101.5. Today we're going to talk a little bit about style and how style evolves through time, and I'm going to share some samples from my own scrapbooks of different ways that I have scrapbooked throughout my 25 plus years of doing this fun craft. I had wanted to kind of incorporate some information about organization into today's lesson, but I think I'm going to save that for another time, and we're just going to kind of go through some sample ideas for and just give you an idea of how your style does change through time, and that's okay. So let's check out my workspace. I'm going to share with you several different albums, pages in those albums, and we'll talk about them as we go. Okay, let's check it out. All right, so you can see I've got all my my fun post-it notes marking different pages that I wanted to show you today. This is actually my oldest daughter's book. This is the first scrapbook that I ever made, and this is not the first page that I ever made, but this is the first scrapbook that I put together, and it was for her, mainly for her baby pictures, because we didn't have a baby photo album for her of any of those memories. And you can see, if you can see any of these photos on this side, she had a rather dramatic entrance to this world, which is not something I'm going to go into in this video, but one of the things that we were taught by Creative Memories back then was to that just by adding triangles, remember, those of you who are watching this who've done this for a while, we were taught that just by adding triangles to corners or various places that we could enhance our pages, which is true. And so many of the pages in this album simply have triangles in the corners, and that does work. I mean, it still works today. It's just not my favorite way of laying out my page. You can see this was a Fast to Fab page. This was printed already on the page, this pretty little ribbon that went around. This was a baby, kind of a baby Fast to Fab collection, although that's not what they called it back then. I don't honestly remember what it was called. But it had prefabricated pages that said, like this one said, "Coming Home," and I did a lot of taking a photo and cutting out an element from that photo, and then maybe, like in this case, matting it with another color, or using a template and cutting around an element in the photo using the template, or using we used templates back then. We didn't have the custom cutting system, so these ovals are cut using a template with scissors and a pencil and very careful cutting. So just some ideas, and I just wanted to show you where I came from when it comes to how my style has evolved over the years. Here's another page that is slightly prefabricated. You can see all of the printing that went around the edge here. And this was just a sort of a collage of photos that I put together for her at different ages as she grew. And of course, this was well beyond her first year. You can see she's much older in these photos right here. But it just was a fun way of seeing how she was growing. And so that I would do again. I think it's interesting whenever I look at these pictures that I very carefully cut out. I think they're unique, and I think that they still have a place in our pages, and could be very, very fun. Sorry, I got interrupted there by a phone call, but when you cut around a photo like this, it suddenly becomes kind of three-dimensional, and you can see how she looks like she's crawling out from amongst a crowd and things like that. So just kind of a fun thing to add to a page here and there. So you can see on this page how we have triangles in each one of the corners, and then I just matted around a shaped photo in the center, which I think added a lot without doing very much on the page. Then you've got these over here, which are also cut with a template, and I actually cut a little bit out of each one, kind of a bite chunk out of each one to make a progression. Same thing down here. The border on this page is made with a shaped ruler. Old CM had some shaped rulers. One had a wave on it, so that's what this one was made with. I just used a pen and I made a line following the shape. You could do that with our decorative trimmer that we currently have. If you cut a piece of that and then just drew along the edge of it. And then I just wrote cousins, because these are all kids who are cousins. I just wrote cousins, 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 cousins all the way around it, just for some fun. Then let's see. So we evolved to this point. This was also made with a template, and it was one of those similar rulers with a shape on it that I traced and then carefully cut out, and then just added some small stickers, some of those old Mrs. Grossman's stickers, and then added some stickers up here for the beach. This is a die cut that I added up here, and it just made it a very simple, quick border, although back in the day it wasn't super quick, because it did take a while to trace and cut out all of those, but these days you would just use a punch and it would be fast and easy. This page was from SeaWorld, and you can see all I did was I cut a shape to look like a starfish and put that down as my background, and just drew some lines down the center like you would do a flower petal or a leaf to kind of give it a little bit of definition, and then just used some sticker letters to create the title for the page, and did a little bit of a sticker sneeze over the rest of the page, which is not what we recommend now for stickers. You can see a little bit of that on this side too, with all the butterflies and eggs and things like that. Sticker sneezes are not necessarily recommended anymore, but on this page I don't think it's too horrible, but yeah, I probably would not have done it quite like that if I was to redo that page nowadays. I wanted to show you this page right here where I just made a quick tree. And this is just freehanding like a cloud shape, only in green paper. And then I just made a quick trunk with some branches holding it up. My girls had gone up with my dad to pick oranges off of the orange tree that was in their backyard. And this is Sam, the kitty my mom had. So just kind of fun to anchor a page with something large like that. And then these are just sticker letters that I used to give the page a title. Very, very basic. So this one's a little bit more involved. When my daughter started learning how to play softball, my dad was really big into baseball, and so softball was the closest thing for girls at that point in time. And so I built this softball field out of cardstock and just cut a little rounded edge for the bases, and then I used photos of her that I just used a small template on to kind of make it look like she was playing all the different positions. because in T-ball they kind of just put you wherever you're going to go, right? But this was her favorite thing, to sit in the outfield and draw in the dirt. That was her favorite thing next to batting. She liked to bat, but most kids do, I think, at that age. Anyway, just a fun, kind of another fun representation. And then I used some sticker baseballs, softballs, whatever they were, and just kind of made some balls like they'd been hit from home plate going all over the place. And that was how that page ended up. But anyway, the page opposite it just has the green and some stripes going across it, which is a pretty simple layout to tie it into the left-hand side with the same color scheme, since those colors, since these photos are very much on par with these. They're the same theme, the same situation, and so it just sort of ties it in with this. Let's check out another album. This one is my second album that we created, that I created when my husband was newly deployed, and our very first duty station was overseas in Europe. So we were leaving for a while and not going to be easily visited. So my mom took us to the park and we did a photo shoot, and she took all these photos of us, which was really nice of her to do. These two pages have no background paper, as you can see. It's just on a blank, naked white page. I matted the main 5x7 photographs in blue cardstock to kind of match the blue jeans that we were all wearing. And then I added some Mrs. Grossman's ivy and rose stickers to the corners just to give it a little bit of color since we were at the park. And I used a pink fine pen and drew in these clusters of 3 little circles, open circles all over. Back at the time that that these pictures were taken, that type of a pattern on a background sheet of paper was not uncommon. So drawing it on here was really simple, really easy, really inexpensive. I didn't use any paper. I didn't use any tools necessarily other than just cutting the mats for these photos. And I did use templates to cut the shaped photos that are clustered in the corners. But otherwise, just a very quick, fun double page layout. I'm going to skip a bunch of this album because there's just a lot in here, but I wanted to show you this layout. This is from the Keukenhof in the Netherlands that we got to go and visit. And I wanted to show you this one because I feel like it coordinates really well, and I was really proud of the way these borders turned out. All this is a strip of paper about 2 inches wide, and then I took 2 photos, I cut them into thirds, and then I used them to create the border on the outer edges of this layout. And then I used the same paper to mat. I used some additional yellow paper, but I used this yellow plaid paper to accent. It's out here and it's underneath the title here in the center. And then I used a matching plain piece of cardstock to go underneath a few of the key photographs. And I tried to make sure that these are both vertical photos, these are both horizontal photos, to balance out the layout. So just some ideas, simple ways to lay out your photos and you know, evolve your style just a little bit, make it a little more involved than just using a triangle like I started with. Here we are in the Black Forest, so lots of green. And I wanted to just sort of emulate that in the way I laid this out. So I used green paper and I tore the edge which is not super easy to see, but I tore the edge across here, and this paper is only about 4 inches wide. You can see the bottom of it right here, so it's only about a 4-inch wide piece where the top edge is torn and the bottom edge, it looks like this one was straight, so this was probably the bottom of the page. This one was torn, so it's probably the next section up. But that's all it is just a torn piece of 4-inch wide paper that goes across the center, and then the photos make up the story for the rest of the page. There are a few stickers in some clusters on there, and some stickers, some sticker letters, but otherwise pretty simple page that makes a big impact. Okay. So this album was done a few years later, a couple years later, 2005. This is a single page I thought would be fun to show you. This is a page where, as I laid all of these rectangular photos on here, I then went back with a pen and created a border that went around and sectioned off each area. So that's just done with one of my archival dual tip pens. And then these are sticker letters again that went in here. Cooling off, hanging out with Oma. That's my mom. She has always gone by Oma. So just a fun idea. These are just some scraps that kind of went along with the sunshine that was there in California, and made the page brighter. Of course, it helped that my son's shirt was yellow, so it kind of complemented the color scheme as well. Wanted to show you this layout. This was one of the first times that I actually took a piece of paper and wallpapered my page. So both of these pages have the same base paper, and then literally I just took the same mat, two of the same mat, and I put the mat down at an angle in the center of the page, and then scattered my photos over the top of it. And that's all that is. I did some ink work to do some stitching around the mat that's laid on the front, almost like a patch. And we used sticker letters to do titles and added some dots and some extra little stickers. You can see my stickers are kind of clustered. Not exactly clustered, because one of these guys would be touching. But a little bit of that clustering to kind of help your eye flow in a certain direction. We've talked about that. Here's another cute layout. This was picking blueberries in North Carolina, and you can see I've used cardstock this time to put on the base of my page. When you use a darker color underneath your photos tend to jump out at you a little bit easier, a little bit more. It's why when we mat a photo, we tend to use a darker color, or at least that's what I tend towards, because I feel like it does a better job at drawing your attention to that photo. And then I have just these cute little mats where we added some balloons. These are balloons that are upside down to represent the blueberries. And then I added just a little cross hatching on them to remind us of the berries that we were picking. Just kind of fun. Let's see. I wanted to show you this one over here. This one still has the page protector on, so that it may be glary, but this one over here is the one that I really wanted to kind of draw your attention to, because you can see it's mainly just photos. I did mat this postcard in the center, And then these are photos that were cut to fit. And these are photos that are cut to fit. And then this is a border sticker that went all the way across. And you can see it goes onto the jeeping on both sides. That's because these are the old pages. CM's old pages were 11.5 inches instead of 12, a true 12 inches wide. And so that's why that border goes over the jeeping. And then I just used some sticker letters that were already designed to look like tags and added all these little squiggly threads with a pen. And sometimes that's all you really need. That's all the decoration that's on that page, but it still looks finished and complete. So that's what I love about that. Pages don't have to be super involved or take you days and days and days to put together. This is a craft that really doesn't take terribly long to look good. This is the San Diego Zoo, and you can see it's just a strip and a strip, and then I have a slightly narrower strip on top and a much narrower strip on the bottom. And that is the border that goes across underneath my photos. I've matted this photo and I've matted this photo. Otherwise, all of these photos are just arranged, cut and arranged so that they work together. And then I turned my title sideways over here and added the year. That's very, very simple. A couple of stickers here and there, but not even really a lot of those. Here's another layout that I did, and this one has more of a frame that goes all the way around the blue, and then the same paisley paper in the center, which gives it more of a framed look, which is kind of nice. And then you can see I've got my embellishments and title in all four corners of the layout, which draws your attention to those. One of my favorite pages, one of my favorite groups of people. We made a lot of friends in the military. This is the second set of pages that kind of goes along with that 4th of July. And this is just a strip of striped paper on the top and the bottom, and then the star paper makes up that center section like we had over here. The paisley paper here is the blue star paper here. So another very similar type of layout. Here we have, this is a family vacation trip, and all I did was I took what kind of would be considered like a fast to fab printed page and turned it so that it's got borders on the outer edge of both sides, and then I just took some cardstock and put it right down the middle, but it doesn't go all the way, it's just sort of shorter. And my photos are banked off of that so that you have a center line presentation of the photos. And the next page continues in a much similar fashion, even though this paper is different. Underneath, it's more of a plaid. So very simple. Notice there's not even stickers on this page, but it still looks nice to me. I think it looks nice because it's simple and clean. Here's another photo. This was from a girls' camp several years ago. The theme was super service, and so we had this emblem on our t-shirts, as you can see right here, of the emblem of Captain America. And so I decided to create that, and I made several circles and cut them so that they overlapped onto this page. But really that's the only decoration on the page, are just these circles. And then I created the letters, the large letters, with my Cricut, and those went on here as the title. And really there's no other stickers or anything. That's just that's the design for the page. And the next page kind of goes along with a similar theme, and adds, I just made one target and cut it in half and put half of it down here and half of it kind of overlapping on the middle of the page up here, and that is the decoration again for that. Here we have another Independence Day celebration, and this is done with our wavy trimmer, the decorative trimmer that we have. This is a strip of glitter paper that was made like a ribbon, and then there's a piece of laser paper over the top with the stars, and then I made the letters using my Cricut and just added this flag sticker in here, and that's all there is. So I just wanted you to get kind of a sense of the fact that styles evolve, and you don't have to make pages that are over the top and take forever in order to have an interesting and beautiful album to share your memories. We just have 2 more pages in this album. This is from our trip to Alaska. Just wanted to share with you. Again, just a simple border in the center of the page, and the way you arrange your photos balances your border, so you've got it up on the top edge here and down on the bottom edge over here. And then here's another very simple one with, these are just strips of paper, and then I put some stickers almost like signposts to balance, and again did words using my Cricut. So I hope this has been beneficial for you to give you some other ideas of simple ways that you can make your scrapbook pages. And I'll be back next week with another quick class with our Scrapbooking 101.5, and we're going to talk about journaling next. So that's going to be super fun and hopefully chock full of information. I've gone a little long today, so I want to get going, but you have a great day, and I will see you in a couple days with another video. And until then, I hope you have many more creative moments. Have a great day.